Okay guys, so what I'm going to show you today is my auto rigging script. Now I've been working with this script for a while now, and the reason it's taking me a while is because I'm trying to work on one that essentially is customizable and can be used for multiple scenarios. So without further ado, I will show you what I've been working on. Now this script here is the result of my work. It's about 1730 lines, and this is essentially all of the work from the previous version, which was entirely Mel based, uh, reduced greatly, and though I think the work is now double what the old script was. The old script used to do just arms, and then there was a separate one for just the spine. This one does the whole shebang. So without further ado, let's show this bad boy off. Now, really quick before we get into this, I'm just going to change my background here just so you can see it a little better, and I'm going to move this down, and there we go. And as you can see, it starts from exactly 0. The controls work beautifully, and the really nice thing about these controls are they actually are mirrored. So I can move just about any one of these controls on the left and right, and they will move as they should. That includes these guys. And as you can see, everything's pretty well organized. We got our right leg, left leg, arms, spine, the whole shebang. And the cool thing about this is I have all these options here that allow me to customize this rig and pretty much create a different skeletal structure for each type of scenario. For example, I could have a character without a left leg or left arm. I'm saying leg, silly. Left arm, or let's remove the leg since I'm so eager. So he's got no limbs at all now. And as you can see, the rig automatically adjusts. So if I had the arms back, it'll still go to 0.0, which is really cool. And it's really handy for game rigging. And as you can see, I can move this along. And it's working pretty nice. So I'm going to bring these back here. Oops. And there we go. And let's start playing with these settings a little bit more. For example, we have the clavicle and the scapula. Now, clavicle, I feel is pretty necessary, but scapula, not so much maybe, so let's get rid of that. And if we remove the clavicle, it would look something like maybe this. Give it a second. There we go. And I'm going to bring that back. I can also remove the double elbow here, which is pretty nice. Double elbow is a really useful setup for rigging to maintain volume in that area. Knees and elbows are prime candidates for it. And also the wrist, which we'll show in a sec, but it moves pretty nicely. Now, as I said, there's the wrist, and the hand has the most customizability in this whole rig setup currently. So if I take a look at this, I can get a double wrist setup. Now, my plan for later is to introduce a metacarpal setup, but as I said, that's for later. That's a lot of coding to go through. So right now, this double wrist is a good substitute. But also, I have the ability to set finger segment amounts and number of fingers. So I could have anywhere from one finger with one segment to one finger with 5 segments to maybe 3 fingers with 5 segments. Or how about 4 with 4? There we go. Or 5 with 4. As you can see, very customizable. And all of these controls have 2 different controls. One for the rig as a whole. So, this control here, I can move the whole hand. This one I can move the whole hand as well. But the smaller controls in here are for moving each of these individually, and this is where I'm really proud of. You can move these spheres individually, and wherever these spheres are going to go, that's where your bones are going to line up. So for example, when I hit bone swap, if I put it in that position, that's where the bone is going to be. Let's remake that really quick. I also have an upper arm roll bone and a forearm roll bone setting, so let's turn off double wrist and let's say increase both of these to 3. Now it's going to look like there's tons of controls um, on the arms here in a second, so I'm not going to keep it like this, but just so you know, like these options are here. Now this is pretty cool because essentially these controls will move with the cylinders here. So I can move these any which way I want, and they will follow exactly. How cool is that? Okay, and let's bring back the scapula. I'm going to turn this down to 1, and I'm going to turn this down to 2. Actually, I'll turn that to 1. I'm very indecisive. We also have a vertebrae slider, so I can have anywhere from one one vertebrae, which to me looks a little silly, but hey, who knows? You know, someone may need a setup like that. And you can have anywhere from 1 to 8 currently. And there we go. And as you can see, the arms slide up to always be aligned with spine 1, essentially, which is the topmost one, and then the neck. I'm going to set that back to 4. And there we have it. Now, let's get into the bone swap functions. The bone swap function is very it's a lot more advanced than it was in the previous iterations of this script, where the older versions used to just swap out the spheres for the joints. We now have that option, but we also have the ability to orient the bones correctly too. So not only will they mirror accurately, but they'll also move correctly as well. So let's move these into a good position. So let's move these down here. Maybe I'll move this over here. Scapula and the clavicle, I'm going to move together. That's where you'd expect kind of the clavicle to be, I think. Let's move this down. This is another thing. The spine can stretch. I can move out the bones here. I'm calling them bones, but they're really not bones. They're just spheres and cylinders. They will be bones in a second, though. And the head, I can move this about, you know, any which way. I think I'm going to move it up here. This is our jaw. And as you can see, the face is very basic at the moment. Later iterations, I'm going to put in a script that'll allow me to have multiple bones around the face, including for the eyes, which will be very nice. Let's take a look at these really quick. I can move these out. Let's bend our knees. Bends the knees. Bends the knees. Let's move this over a little bit. There's our buttocks control to reserve our geometry when our hips and all that are moving. Maybe I'll move those in together so we have a slight angle to our knees here. Okay, and I think that should be good. Maybe I'll stretch out my joints here, so I'm going to select them all for both sides. Okay, So that's one. And I apologize, I'm very slow at clicking these. There we are. And I can just do that. Oh, and I missed one over here. There we go. So I can move those out. I can maybe bend them a little bit. And that should be good. And let's do a bone swap and see what we get. And there it is. Our complete skeletal setup. Complete with our roll bones, our double elbow. And what you'll also notice is that our bones are 100% aligned and oriented correctly. So if I decided to rotate these joints here, they're going to be absolutely correct. Same with our legs here. Now the other thing is I've also set this up to where we have our reverse feet bones. In later versions, my plan is to have an option where you can turn these into locators instead of bones. That way, if you're working on, say, a game that only needs, 120 bones, that'll save you some space. Okay, but that is essentially it. It's very useful, and I cannot wait to use this on some characters and advance this a little further. I'm planning on also including like a tail joint setup, which will just be like the spine, just going the other way. And maybe in later versions of this, maybe I'll add some wings to this as well. But the other cool thing is I could totally use this for any type of character if I just wanted to move it around. Okay, so that's about it. So we started with this and we got this. Pretty nice, not bad for a little bit of work. Now this skeleton might have taken you, a while, especially with the joint orientation, because if we take a look at this, I mean, these are oriented really nice. Joint orientation, I can tell you, is not fun. You'll save a little bit of time if it's perfectly mirrored, but there's always that chance that it's not. So this script would be good for someone who has, say, an asymmetrical character as well. Okay, so that's about it. I'm Cody Wilcoxon signing off.